What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here, thanks for stopping by. Today's video, we are on the test server here today, so thank you Plarium for allowing us access to that. And we will be playtesting the newest changes to the Gurgoh champion, Void, Legendary, Ogren Tribe. Super old champion, has a pretty outdated kit, but with the updates actually ended up being pretty solid. So I was curious and I wanted to test him out to see if he was actually going to be more viable. So maybe you guys take him out of the vault, give him a try. But yeah, we'll jump into all of that in this video. Let's take a quick look at his updates relative to his past or current kit. All right, so keep in mind that these updates are not in the game as of upload date for this video. So I do have the current and old skill set on the left-hand side, and then we will talk about the updated skill set on the right-hand side. So for his A1, it's going to be unchanged. Double hit, has an extra hit if the target is under freeze. No changes here. Even the books stay the same. His A2, big changes here on his Bone Chiller move. It goes from a remove 2 random buffs on all enemies, and then has a chance for the freeze and the extra turn. It now removes all buffs. So that's a pretty big change. Books stay the same. Duration stays the same. So that's a pretty big upgrade here. And then his A3 Avalanche, massive upgrade to this ability. It previously was only attack one enemy, and then you get an extra hit if they're under freeze. 6 turn cooldown before. It's updated to a 5 turn cooldown with an AoE, decreased defense. And yeah, so it's a pretty big upgrade. It goes from single target 6 turns to AoE 5 turns with the relevant debuff. Very, very good update, and his passive also gets updated as well. Previously, it was a 50% chance to place freeze on the attacker if Gurgoh loses 20% of their max HP in one hit. I mean, that's a high chance, but the chance that Gurgoh probably dies in one hit is pretty high. So now Gurgoh has a lower chance, but it's on any hit, which is actually, I think, a little bit better, especially for like, weak AoE support champions like, for example, like Loki or like Kaimar or something on their A1s. So now they have a chance to freeze with 30%. Also, he also has a team buff now. So his team buff allows everybody to do 25% more damage to those enemies, which is really, really good compared to what he used to have. Also, his aura has improved quite a bit. It goes from, it's 30% arena battles for speed. Previously, it was 44% attack boost in faction crypts. So you can kind of see here his previous aura is just really, really like not usable, but this is actually usable, and honestly his kit is kind of usable. Personally, I think maybe the 4 turn cooldowns when fully booked on his A2 and A3 are a little bit long. Like maybe if this was a 3 turn cooldown, I'm thinking it may be too strong, but I mean it's a Void Legendary, right? Anyways, we'll give him a test, see if he actually can do damage, and see how his kit actually works together. In terms of his stats, not too bad. It has the boosted crit damage here. Would have liked to see an accuracy since he needs accuracy in his kit. Base attack is a little bit on the low side, 1465. Would have liked to see maybe 15-ish or 1560. But he is mostly like a debuffer that deals damage. Debuffer first, damage second. But anyways, let's give him a spin on the test server. All right, let's quickly do some quick damage comparisons for him. I do have a relatively, I guess, comparable champion that I have that maybe can work against him here. So we'll do the increased attack since he is attack based. We'll do the AoE decreased defense and weaken from Lydia. Everybody gets the proper debuffs. That's great. So now Gurgoh, I think you start off with the freeze so that you freeze everybody and remove all their buffs. Then you come in with the double hit here. Okay, I can't really tell from the beginning whether it actually places the decreased defense first and then has the extra hit. I'm not 100% sure. It's actually even too fast, even on 1x speed, but we can take a look here on his A2. So everybody gets the freeze. That's great. And then you cycle into his A3. Big slam there, guys. Big slam. So we're on floor 113. He just did 699 damage. That's pretty significant, I think. And he almost basically one-shot that whole wave, which is, I mean, pretty impressive, right? So So let's test him out again, and let's see what kind of damage he can do again. Maybe the first time it was a fluke. I do have Helm Smasher on him, so he's going to be doing some extra damage occasionally. But let's see what happens here. All right, so we're going to do the Bone Chiller. So we're going to freeze everybody. Everybody gets frozen. Perfect. And then we're going to do the A3 Slam. So decrease defense and an extra hit if they're under freeze. All right, so that first hit was not a fluke at all. Okay, so let's see what damage again. 717 this time. Last time was 699. All right, so I'm going to pit him up against maybe another damage dealer, and we'll see how well he does. All right, so I got my Ithos here in basically the same team. I'm not using Duchess because my Ithos is actually too slow. So I needed a turn meter boost, but it's basically the same thing. They both get increased attack before they attack here. In this case, he doesn't have like, Gurgo's passive to boost his damage or anything like that. And let's test Ethos's overall damage versus Gurgoh. So his A3 for Ethos is actually stronger than his multi-hit, but let's test his A3 first. Okay, pretty big slam there. We can end the battle and check the total damage dealt. So 730. So Ethos did slightly more damage than Gurgoh. Let's take another shot here. We did have all the decreased defense and all the weakens land properly. So there was no resist or anything like that. So everybody, so you see here, this Blood Gorge actually got a resist. So we have to try it again, unfortunately. So hoping for no resist this time. And I think Ethos here, they're both geared kind of similarly-ish. But we can take a look at the stats right after. So his A2 deals less damage to his A3, but is a multi-hit. So Ethos does less damage on his A2. So his A3 slightly outdamages Gurgoh, but I think Gurgoh is pretty impressive in that he actually brings debuffs as opposed to Ethos, which is just a pure damage dealer. We'll do one more comparison against a pretty high-end damage dealer, and we'll see how they stack up. All right, guys, so I bring out my arena-ready Georgid, and he's, obviously built a lot better than the other two that we just showcased, but we'll take a look at how much damage he can actually pump out here with just his AoE. So his AoE is basically just an AoE damage attack. We'll take a look here and how they compare to the other two. So, okay, boom. We'll end it. So Georgid's AoE is actually 656 only. That's actually quite less compared to Ethos or Gurgoh. We can try again. Make sure that wasn't a fluke. And unfortunately, Blood Gorge there did get a resist on one of the weekends. We have to try again. So we go boost. All right, here we go. Let's try again with the A2 and boom. All right, this time probably Helm Smasher proc there, 721. So you can kind of see that these guys kind of have like similar damage range, around 700-ish. Ethos seemed to be pretty much like much stronger with his A3. But I would think that all three are a little bit different, but based on like the multipliers, Ethos has the highest multiplier on his A3. But Ethos also has the highest attack, but his stats are not as high as Georgid's. Georgid has the lowest multiplier, but he has the highest stats, so he has the best build. So we can take a look here at what I actually used, and then you guys can be the judge of that. So here we got this is my arena ready like Ethos, my Georgid. So 7.8k attack with 300 crit damage. He's in lethal gear, so basically the same amount of ignore defense, so 25% here. And then we got my Ethos. Ethos is in Savage with Cruel. So the Cruel set probably makes the big difference here. 30% ignore damage. He's significantly less crit damage, but he has much more. He has actually pretty high base attack, higher than Georgid. So it's pretty easy to scale him up. So 8.6k. And then we're going to take a look at the Gurgoh that I built out. And even though like Gurgoh has the lowest base attack and the lowest stats out of these three, he actually did pretty decent in terms of overall damage. 250 crit damage and 5.6k attack only, or 5.7k attack. And he has the single lethal set as well, so he matches Georgid. But, he was doing all right. He was bringing his strip, AoE control, as well as a decreased defense, and then smack. The thing is, the the decreased defense didn't matter because we had Lydia. So just to make things all fair between the 3 damage dealers, they're all different types of damage dealers. Ethos and Georgid are very similar, but Ethos here has, you know, slightly more ignore defense damage, as well as slightly higher multiplier on his A3 compared to Georgid. Of course, Georgid's main, you know, strength comes from his A3 into the cycling ability of his AoE. But, you know, Ethos, no slouch there in the damage department. All 3 were doing very good. Obviously, we're trying to compare Gurgoh here, and I think Gurgoh held up quite well against those 2 good damage dealers. Keep in mind, Gurgoh actually does have the highest multiplier on his A3. I believe it's a 6x multiplier, so it's the highest, but his stats are the worst. So it kind of makes up for it. So, you know, you can't just have like insane stats plus like insane multiplier. So Plarium obviously trying to balance it out a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of one reason how he could really stack up. Not too bad against those other damage dealers. We'll check out Gurgoh and talk about his build a little bit more in a bit, but let's take him into the arena and see what we can actually do with him. So this Gurgoh is actually built obviously for damage, and it does have some accuracy to do some stuff. Let's see how we do against this team here. So increase attack because Gurgoh is based off of attack. All right, so we locked them out. Let's see if we can strip some of these stone skins and maybe freeze them. That would be nice. Anything? Actually, we got a couple freezes off, which is really nice. Let's hit him with the A3. Let's see what happens here. Not too bad. I mean, it killed the DPS, right? But that's not really too much to talk about. But the good thing is Duchess actually attacked Gurgoh and actually freezed herself. Actually, that's really, really nice. Let's keep going. Let's keep doing some damage here. So not too bad. A1 actually chunking off a little bit of Duchess there. Let's protect somebody. Would expect Pythion to come in here and cleanse everybody off. Oh no, he's locked out. Okay, so that's really good. Let's do some freezing with this A1. No, his A1, sorry, A1 does an extra hit if the enemy is frozen. That's not, so his A1 doesn't do the freezing. Sorry, my fault. Let's see. Let's try to kill this Duchess. Why not? Almost. And down. Nope. Not quite down. There she goes. No revive. Let's boost attack again. This is the problem here, guys. The cycling of this skill is actually not that easy. 4-turn cooldown, even though it gives an extra turn, it doesn't cycle very quickly. Both of the abilities, and now you're just kind of stuck using the A1. So I can already feel like kind of like the rhythm or his strength, his overall damage kind of tailing off because he's forced to use his A1 so often because both his skills are on cooldown. Yeah, so this one could be a 4-hitter if the enemy's frozen, but you know the freeze only lasts for 1 turn, so you're not going to keep it up all the time, which is a bit of a shame. I think that's a little bit of a downfall for this Gurgoh's kit. But that's really nice. You see that Samson hit him and his passive caused him to freeze. That's really nice. I'm going to shut down Pythion again. Let's do more freezing. Get resisted. All right, let's do the double hit. All right, so since Pythion's resisting all the CC and the debuffs and stuff, it's a little bit hard to kill him. Let's try to bring him down here. All right. I mean, you know what? This team isn't like super insane or anything. It just kind of shows like proof of concept that it actually works. And obviously our team is, you know, not too bad, right? All right, let's try YST's team here. He has a faster team, I think, with the fast, with this girl. I forgot what her name was, but she's the turn meter booster with the continuous heals. Also playing against Duchess here, and then Mesomol. But we do bring a lockout, so hopefully we can shut down everybody except for Mesomol, and maybe we can just freeze them, which would be pretty nice. Let's see what happens here. I'm actually kind of interested. But yeah, just overall gameplay with Gurgoh, you can kind of tell where his shortcomings come from, but he is an interesting champion to have. His kit greatly improved for sure. And let's see if we can strip some stuff here. Everybody gets resisted. Actually, we did strip 2 of the stone skins and we managed to freeze everybody. Let's see if we can kill people. Wow, we actually... That's a big slam. I don't know, man. That's a massive slam. That is a massive slam there. Okay, okay. Gurgoh meaning business. Gurgoh meaning business. Now, here's the problem. Getting back to the skills. That is a problem. Decrease attack, not really one you want to see on the Gurgoh there. Here we go, Mesimo's transforming, and big hits. We're okay. We got feared. Okay, fear, that's not that good. Can we kill this guy? And there you go, Gurgoh laying the smack down. Alright, get the heal off. I still have the fear on me. Oh yeah, I didn't take a turn yet. And let's see what happens. Let's see if we can just kill this freeze again. Okay, so his Duchess has plenty of resistance, right? So I can't do anything about that. Another kill with a decreased defense on the Harima. So at this point, the Harima is basically shut down. Decreased defense, frozen, all that stuff. This Duchess a little bit hard to kill. Gets a revive off. High enough resistance that we can't lock him out too. Let's see. And now the Gurgoh is stuck with the cooldowns. Very, very disappointing. We're gonna have to oh, here we go, the turn meter boosting, and oh, still alive. Okay, we're still alive. Still alive. Yeah. Yeah, I think the 4-turn cooldown is a bit much. Even with his extra turn ability. Yeah, a bit much. Alright, GG. Alright, so we definitely feel the shortcomings here that he only has one AoE ability, and then his A1 is not particularly strong. Although, the strip and freeze is actually pretty nice, and then his overall damage from his A3 is actually not too bad. Alright, so we'll talk about his build. I have him in here. So you can check him out here. I have him really fast, like basically like debuffer speed is going to go faster than, you know, most of our damage dealers. I have him with, you know, obviously damage. He's crit capped. He has crit damage. He has enough accuracy to basically strip and remove most champions that aren't like particularly built with high resistance. If you want to resist 385 accuracy, you need about 500 resistance. So I don't know how many, like, you know, obviously the testers will have stronger champions, especially if they're like 5 or 6 that are blessed. They're going to have, you know, plus 75 resistance. So it's going to be no problem for them to hit 400 or 500 without much effort. But for most damage dealers, for example, they probably only have like 200 resistance, so they're not going to be able to resist the, you know, the strip or the freeze. So that's going to be really good for Gurgoh. And yeah, he's just, you know, I put whatever, as much stats on him as I can and just make him kind of fast. I knew that cycling through his abilities would be a little bit of an issue. And, you know, just in general gameplay, it definitely showed that it was an issue. Overall books, he's sitting at 7, 11 books. Honestly, a little bit above average in terms of, you know, book out. You have to kind of book him out. You maybe can avoid his A1 booking, but you definitely need to book out his A2 and A3, so you could save 3 books here. Otherwise, I think he obviously benefits from books, damage, cooldown, debuff chance, cooldown, of course. Masteries, I have him with kind of nuker masteries here, taking Helm Smasher for extra damage. If you're using him strictly for a debuffer, you're going to take him with Eagle Eye. I think he's probably going to be better as a damage dealer with some accuracy. So in this case, basically like a build like this, you maybe can cut down accuracy, like maybe down to 300 to make him still viable as a debuffer. But that's going to depend on what area of the game you are and how far your competition is relative to you. If you have something like pinpoint gear, that's going to be pretty decent on him because he does have a chance to sheep himself in the arena with his freeze and decreased defense ability. So I think best build for him would probably be like lethal pinpoint or maybe stone skin plus lethal, somewhere along there. But you probably want him to deal some damage as opposed to just being a debuffer. Like overall, if you pulled this guy as your first Void Legendary, would you actually invest in this guy? Like as a damage dealer, is he better than Sun Wukong? No, he's not, right? So if you have Sun Wukong, you would definitely invest all in Sun Wukong instead of this guy. Will this guy help you in places like Faction Wars? Absolutely, right? The CC and then the AoE decreased defense is going to make the waves a lot more easier. And then even his passive is actually really nice, right? We saw his passive at doing some work against, you know, in arena, which is really, really nice, right? You need the accuracy to make this passive work, but it is what it is. Overall, I think his cooldowns on his A2 and his A3 make him a little bit too clunky and weak to use. If he's just using his A1 over and over, he's also not likely to get extra hits off because the freeze is only for 1 turn. Even though his passive does lend for more freezes, he doesn't really want to get hit at all. So his A1 is not going to be doing much. And if you can only use this once every basically 4 turns, it's not going to be very strong as an overall damage output champion. So overall, I'd say he's probably a pass in terms of building out. But of course, later on in the game, he's going to be decent as an option for Ogryn tribes, Siege Ogryn teams, for example, or perhaps Centranos. Definitely not as bad as he used to be. Definitely viable, but still probably not enough. So anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have Gurgoh? Are you guys going to use him? How would you build him? And yeah, let me know in the comments below. Appreciate your time as always. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.